Oh, this is exciting. My life, for the most part, is rather good.
Yeah. It's supposed to be.
Yeah. I feel like, at times, my life resembles the menu from the Cheesecake Factory. In that there are so many wonderful options that I sometimes feel paralyzed with indecision about.
Well, that will go away once you start approaching it in the way that we've been talking about, because the priorities are already established, so that when you get into that receptive mode, if you're trying to plan it from your conscious mind, it would feel that way because there's so many possibilities. But the priorities are well established, and the source within you knows the path of least resistance for the highest reward that you could ever experience. And so when you start doing inspired work rather than motivated work, that'll take care of all of that.
I feel inspired to do many things. I feel like a lot of times I have my hand in many different pots at the same time, that I never know what it is that I really want to do, or I'm, dare I say, supposed to do.
You're offering this observation from a place of less than the clarity that you are about to accomplish. Later you'll say, well, before I knew what I now know, I felt that way, but now I feel a different way. And so if you can trust that. Did it feel logical to you when we said that your inner being is aware of what you've been asking for? You see, here's the thing. As you move through life, you have a lot of sort of repetition. Different faces, different places, but the same sort of conclusions keep happening. And so you make strong statements of desire, and when you make a strong statement of desire over and 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 over, and this is going to take a while again, your inner being understands the priority of it. And then as things begin dovetailing together, so many things that you are asking for, you think that you're asking for a better paying job when what you're asking for is greater sense of freedom. You think you're asking for a desk with a corner window when what you're really asking for is a greater sense of freedom. You think you're asking for a different job because you want more upward mobility when what you're really asking for is a greater sense of freedom. And so these things that you think that are lots of different items on the menu all boil down to you wanting to be self-actualized and have the freedom to do whatever you want. And so once you make that request a few 100,000 times into your vortex, there's a really powerful understanding there. We want you to hear this in the precise way that we mean it. Your inner being, do you accept there is one?
Yes.
Your inner being knows exactly where you are vibrationally in relationship to everything you want, and knows the path of least resistance to guide you to it. So what is the path of least resistance? Your inner being knows what you want and what your hang-ups are that are keeping you from it. Say it again. Your inner being knows what you want and what you're tripping over. Your inner being knows what you want and what's the best way, not necessarily the fastest way, the most satisfying way to help you to get to what you are wanting. And so if you are following your bliss more, then you're having more fun along the way, and those things are being answered. And so if we went down your list, and we're not going to take the time to do it, you can get it from the analogy that we're offering. So many of those things on that menu are all leading toward the same thing. Want to tell us top 10, first 10, any 10, pick 10?
Of the things that I'm doing?
On the Cheesecake Factory menus that are options for you. In other words, we understand the premise of your opening. So throw out to us some of those choices that you feel are causing confusion.
So I am an actor, but I'm also a teacher.
Right. Throw them out one at a time, and we're going to come right back at you. So I am an actor. I am one who understands the power of the universe, and I so want to influence others to their own power. And I am one who understands the power of the universe, and I so want to influence others toward their understanding.
I want to create a podcast. I want to write a book. I'm an author. I'm, it's all the same thing. Yeah.
Everything on your list is that. And so what's tripping you up is you're saying, in other words, it's easy for you to accept the why of why you want to do all of those things, but you're trying to figure out how and where and when and who, and that's what's tripping you up. But if you hear what we're saying, your inner being knows all of that and knows what your path of least resistance is to get you to where you want to be. So now we have another question for you. If the joy is in the journey, and it really is, in other words, blah blah blah, you've heard that so many times, it's the process that is so rich and rewarding and delicious and all of that. So imagine any journey that you're taking, any journey. Is your goal, once you've decided to take a really pleasurable journey, is your goal to take the shortest route? What's the route? The most pleasurable route. So what could we say to you all to help you to feel from us, to know for yourself that the best feeling route is the path of least resistance? You all are kind of in a hurry about everything. You want to get to where you want to be because you don't really want to be where you are a lot of the time, and you don't give very much awareness to the delicious journey that you might have on the way to the new place. And in fact, the only reason you want to go to the new place is so that you can have the journey. But you all in practical terms say that's not true. That just is not true. That is not true. I-95 is not pleasing to me. Next. We only got 3. What are the other 7?
3's probably about it right there, right at the moment. So it's really not nearly as long as I thought it was.
Yeah. You're just making stuff up. You're just making stuff up to prove a point that hurts you when you make it.
Yeah.
There's too much to choose from. No, there isn't. No, there isn't. I don't know which way to go. Yes, you do.
I think the reason I'm feeling some of this now at this moment in time is that while I have been fortunate enough to have the same job, same acting job for the last 3 years,
yeah.
I know coming up in the next 3 months that I am leaving that job. So I am trying to approach it in the sense of, all right, let's enjoy the journey.
So let's talk about this flawed premise. It feels to you all in your physical form, you're moving from this job to this job to this job to this job, when what's really happening is this job created a whole bunch of stuff and this one created a whole bunch of stuff, and all of that stuff's available to you, and that's what you're moving toward, unless you think you're moving from this job to this job to this job to this job. So what do you think in the current acting job, what are the best parts of it? Never mind. What are the worst parts of it? What's the best part of it? It's steady and therefore something that you can count on financially?
Yes, and it's a show I enjoy doing. It's something I enjoy.
But why?
Because it has wonderful music and people love it and it uplifts people and it makes people happy.
Why would you want to go anywhere else ever? Sounds like everything that's in your vortex.
There are a few people there who make my backstage life quite unpleasurable.
All right. When you know what you don't want, focus on those for a moment. What are you putting in your vortex over and over again because of your wonderful collaboration with those rascals? What have you put into your vortex as a result of your co-creating with them?
More freedom, more people who I enjoy working with.
People who behave themselves so when I look at them I don't have to do any work, I can just like them because they're likable?
No.
Yeah, that's what you meant.
That's what I meant, but that's not right.
So what do you think that you put into your vortex? Do you think you put likable people that are just easy to like in there? Or do you think you put a clear determination that you're going to focus and isolate a vibration that lets you see the best in them? Are you someone who needs people to be different so that you can feel good? Or are you the attractor of the best of? You see, we know you're going to attract a whole different set of people. That's the path of least resistance. It's so much easier when you're with someone who isn't nice or who isn't whatever you want them to be. And so you launch these rockets of desire. It's a much faster path. And sometimes even the most satisfying path just for new people that are already like that to come to you. rather than teach them how to be different. But nothing that we're talking about in these hours that we've been together is about anybody changing in order to satisfy what you want. We're talking about your point of attraction. And so you can't get there from there. If you don't like something about where you are and you want to go someplace else, there'll be people just like them over there. It's just the way the law of attraction works. So what do you feel like you've put into your vortex as a result of working with them? Give us a little more of the nitty-gritty of what it's like to be with them on a daily basis. Do they need you to be different so that they can feel better?
No.
Well, they're a little ahead of you then.
Yeah. To be completely honest, I think what it reflects, what I'm not enjoying is that it's reflecting back to me the fact that I'm needing them to change in order for me to feel better, as opposed to.
So maybe on this journey, you might enjoy the self-discovery of getting out ahead of it instead of just repeating day after day the same thing, getting out ahead of it and then discovering something that you didn't expect to discover and feeling the surprise and the delight of that. That's what your inner being knows is your path of least resistance. Your inner being knows for sure that you did not come to live and teach conditional love. Your inner being knows for sure that you didn't come to say, spend your time and get it all figured out and then find this little herd of people and run around with them. If you find the right herd, then it'll be fun when you run around together. What your inner being knows that you came for is to find your connection, to know what you want, know what you don't want, and then find your connection with who you are, and then watch it become right before your eyes. How lovely is it to co-create with someone, and at the same time that they're discovering who they are, you're discovering who you are? Isn't that co-creating at its best? You really do want conditions to change, and we get that. We understand why you'd want that. And there's a little thing that we like to say to you that could feel like a paradox to you when we say, if you care about how you feel and you isolate what feeling good is, and you do that a lot of the time, then things will change. And as they change, you'll like the change, and your appreciation of the change will perpetuate it more. So there is this perpetuation thing that happens. But you can't need it to change before you feel good. You have to feel good, and then it will change. And it feels like a subtle distinction. And it can be a quick trap for you too. Oh, I did my segment intending and I did my meditating and that guy got way nicer. Well, don't expect him to stay nicer. You got to keep doing your work. You can't go back to your old ways of just taking what comes. You've got to stay in the driver's seat. You've got to be the one that leads your, wait, you already led it. You already asked. You already told your inner being what you want. And it's complicated. It's way more complicated than Cheesecake Factory menu. Oh. The moving parts and all of the aspects and the depths of who you are and all the nuances of your understanding of who you are, of your personal life and the lives of those you know, and the people that you love up close and the people that are sort of not so up close, and the people that are out in the world that sometimes you know of them and don't like them, and sometimes you know of them and revere them. And then there's everything else that's in the universe, like everyone who's ever lived who is now non-physically focused and focused here with all of you. The energies are dynamic and exhilarating, and the potential is intoxicating, you see. And so when we talk to you about you wanting a better work environment, it's way bigger than just wanting somebody to behave differently in your work environment. It's about you being part of a world that doesn't need to change, and you discovering your vibrational alignment with who you are, and then feeling your real power and discovering what the real power of influence is, and then watching everything just modify itself around you, not because you needed it to change, but because as a creator, it must change. If you are a creator and you are tapping into the energy that creates worlds, things around you are going to change, you see. But if you need them to change before you do the thing that you would do, you get the point we're making over and over and over again. So did we get there, or is there something more that's stuck in your vibrational crowd?
That's it.
You got it. You really did. You really did. You're doing really well.